Welcome to Dementia-Friendly Prince George's County, Maryland Northern Sector webinar series for caregivers. Today's topic is Nutrition for Older Adults by Melissa Long, sponsored by Prince George's County Government and the Department of Family Services.
Nutrition for older adults. This is something that's really important, not just for someone who is aging, but also as we're going through the dementia journey. I work at Insight Memory Care Center, and our mission is to provide specialized care, support, and education for individuals in all stages of memory or cognitive impairment, their partners, and the community. Our vision, a community where those living with memory or cognitive impairment and their care partners can achieve the highest quality of life. We're a leader in dementia care, and happy to say this is our 40th anniversary this year. Our care we provide is specialized adult day programs for people in all stages of their dementia journey, from MCI to early onset, all the way to the end on hospice care. Our connection is building relationships and supporting care partners on their journey. Our creativity is having our dementia experts sharing their knowledge and resources, because every journey with dementia is unique. So let's start here. People are now living longer, but we're not necessarily living healthy. The World Health Organization, the WHO, suggests it is partially due to a person's ability to make positive or negative health-related choices throughout their lifetime. So our variables happen within an individual's control to include diet quality, level of physical activity, and hydration status. Environmental and socioeconomic factors also play a role, as cigarette smoking, pollution, food, desserts, community, and access to medical care influence nutrition status. Recognizing and respecting the multitude of factors that contribute to a healthy lifestyle is crucial to the interdisciplinary team as they work to serve a diverse aging population. That is out of today's geriatric medicine this year. And this is really important. So increasing in age population, we're seeing that across the board. I'm not sure I like the titles on these, but from 55 to 64, you're approaching being old. 65 to 74, you're a young old. 75 to 84-year-old, and 85 and older is the oldest of old. Our society uses this arbitrary age of 65 to define the transition between middle age and old age. Since 1950, this number of people over 65 has more than doubled, and in fact, the fastest growing age group of people is over the age of 85. So let's look at the importance of nutrition and aging. Aging is inevitable and a natural process. Good nutrition and physical activity can improve your quality of life. Healthy habits may lower your disease risk. I have seen it time and time again with older adults over all the years that I've been doing care, that if we get them on a good, healthy diet, so many things improve, from sleep to physical activity to emotions to cognition. So diet is key. I know we like our Big Macs and our chocolate cake, but we need to eat those in moderation. Nutrition needs for older adults. So we look at dietary reference intakes. They provide dietary recommendations for people over 50 by two age groups, 51 to 70 and 71 and above. So they make it very broad. The basic guidelines for nutritious diet are about the same for most healthy older adults as most healthy younger adults. The USDA Daily Food Plan is the best dietary tool to help older adults get the variety and amount of nutrients they need every day. However, older adults do need to pay special attention to the quality of food they eat. There are some changes in nutritional needs as you age, and we're going to talk about those. So we went from the pyramid, right? We all learned in school, to now a plate. And the amount of food recommended from each USDA Daily Food Plan group is based on calories. Calorie recommendations for adults 56 and older vary widely, from 1,600 to 2,600 calories per day, depending on your gender, your age, and your activity level. Personalized nutritional recommendations based on gender, age, and activity can be found at choosemyplate.gov. So I would encourage all of you to go there and do the little calculator and see where you fall in that. If we look at the old food pyramid, typically they say for older anyone, it's 2,000 calories a day, right? So we're looking at 2 cups of fruit, 2.5 cups of vegetables, 6 1-ounce equivalents of grain, 5.5 ounces of protein foods, 3 cups of dairy, 6 teaspoons of oil, and a limited calories from solid fats, added sugars to 260 calories per day. So those are just some things to think about. Now, calorie needs decrease by about 5% for every decade you're over 50. So you have to do a little math. Your decrease in physical activity, your decrease in muscle mass, and your decrease in metabolism is why we do that equation. You need to carefully meal plan to get adequate nutrients with fewer calories. So if you were at 2,000 calories and now you're only supposed to get 1,700 calories, that's 300 calories you can't eat. So you want to be very creative in how you get the calories, but also make sure it's nutritious, okay? So calorie imbalance, risk for many health problems. Estimate calories, multiply the weight in pounds by activity factor. Don't go below 1,200 calories ever. And realize that if you're not counting your calories correctly, there's a risk for malnutrition, which adds a whole nother piece to the equation, okay? So let's look at some proteins. Protein is important for older adults. Why? To maintain healthy cells, sustain your immune system, prevent muscle wasting, fight infections, wound healing, enzymes, and hormones. Protein needs may increase due to surgery, illness, or disease. So you'll hear a lot of people say if they have to do radiation, they have to increase their protein. If they've had surgery and the wound needs to heal, they need to increase their protein. So it's a very good conversation to have with your doctor about that. So an adequate protein is especially important for older adults in order to maintain your healthy cells, sustain your immune system, to help your body fight infection, and prevent muscle wasting. Protein is also needed for wound healing and to make enzymes and hormones. As a result, protein needs may actually increase due to your surgery, illness, and disease. Because calorie needs decrease, protein must be obtained from lower fat sources of high quality protein, such as lean meats like poultry and fish and eggs, non-fat and low-fat milk products and legumes. Many older adults limit meat and dairy foods to lower fat for weight loss. However, lowering fat in the diet doesn't mean omitting meat and dairy products. These foods are part of a well-balanced diet, and there are many low-fat choices available. Okay, so adults need about 0.8 kilograms. Some studies report older adults may need more, like 1 to 1.25 grams to kilograms, because calorie needs decrease. Use the lower fat and don't omit. Okay. Vitamins and minerals. So as we age, vitamins react differently within our body. So let's look at vitamin A. Needs decrease for vitamin A because it's stored more readily as you age. Okay. Iron. Iron needs for women decrease after menopause. Like vitamin A, iron is stored more readily in older adults. Vitamin D is needed to absorb your calcium, and vitamin D needs increase with your age due to frail bones. Your ability of the body to synthesize vitamin D precursor in skin decreases with age. And older adults also trend to have less sunlight exposure. So it's really important to get outside for that 5 to 10 minutes every day and under the sun and get some sunlight, but it's also important to have vitamin D in your food. Okay, this is something that does decrease, and older adults do have the highest rate of depression in the country. It's not talked about enough, but this is one reason why, because a lot of vitamin D is high calorie food, right? And people aren't going outside. Now let's look at vitamin B12. 15% of older adults are deficient in their vitamin B12. B12 deficiency can result in irreversible nerve damage. Synthetic vitamin B12 is found in fortified foods such as cereals. So eat your Wheaties. Protein-bound B12 is found in all animal products. Now, when we look at calcium, you need to increase that with age as well because of your bones. Many older adults do not consume enough calcium. An adequate calcium intake is one way to help protect against osteoporosis. So what's important about vitamin and mineral supplements is they are not replacements to these things. So I don't want you to go, okay, I'm only going to eat 500 calories and then I'll take a bunch of vitamins and it will fix the problem. That's not going to work. The other problem is people don't get the blood work to see where they are with their vitamin levels, and then they start taking all these vitamins, and you can actually overdose on vitamins. It's very easy to do with supplements, okay? Older adults should not take isolated vitamin and or mineral supplements unless recommended by a physician. In addition, older adults should not take large doses without specific medical recommendations. One might think that more is better when taking vitamin or minerals. However, a vitamin or mineral taken in large amounts can be dangerous. Overdoses happen easier with supplements than with food. Minerals in a large amount can be dangerous, as can be vitamins. Minerals in a large amount, our body stores excess minerals and fat-soluble vitamins, Excessive amounts of these nutrients can accumulate and actually be harmful. So if you have a dangerous amount of these, you've taken too many of them, it can lead to nausea, vomiting, and other serious side effects. Toxicity from water-soluble vitamins, such as vitamin C, is unlikely since excess amounts are flushed from the body in the urine. However, serious side effects can occur even with water-soluble vitamins because nutrients interact with each other. A balance of all nutrients is important. If the body has too much or too little of any nutrient, it can affect how the body uses other nutrients. Some guidelines to consider before selecting a vitamin or mineral supplement. I want you to, does that supplement contain a balance of vitamin and minerals? When all supplements and fortified foods are combined, is this dose still safe for me? So if you track your diet a little bit, you can see where those vitamins are. You can do it. There's a ton of free apps, on your iPad, on a phone, and that allows you to do that to see how much you're getting of each thing, and then you'll know if you're taking too much. Is a supplement safe? And the term natural does not always mean safe, so really do your research on them. All right. Now, this is something that's really important. If you're living in a senior community, these needs are being met because it's required, okay? If you're not, this is a really important thing for you to do, okay? We want to remember that warning signs suggest risk, but do not represent the diagnosis of any condition. So I want you to look at what these are and write down the numbers if any of these apply to you. I have an illness or condition that made me change the kind and or amount of food that I eat. The second one, I eat fewer than 2 meals per day. Number 3, I eat few fruits or vegetables or milk products. Number 4, I have 3 or more drinks of beer, liquor, or wine almost every day. Next, I have tooth or mouth problems that make it hard for me to eat. Next, I don't always have enough money to buy the food that I need. Next one, I eat alone most of the time. Next one, I take 3 or more different prescribed or over-the-counter drugs every day. Well, second to last, without wanting to, I have lost or gained 10 pounds in the last 6 months. And the last one, I'm not always physically able to shop, cook, or feed myself. And I want you to tally up those ones you circled yes for, those numbers. If you're 0 to 2, you're good. Your nutrition is adequate. 3 to 5, you're at a moderate nutritional risks. See what can be done to improve your eating habits and lifestyle. Your Office on Aging, senior nutrition programs, and senior citizen centers or health departments can help with this. Okay? And if you have 6 or more for points, you're at a high nutritional risk. So what you want to do is share that with your doctor and see how they can help you. And you can even talk to your senior centers, your Office on Aging, and senior nutritional programs so that we can improve those numbers. We want to get you between the 1 and 2 points, okay? So it's really important to keep track of that. And you can find that right online. You just look for nutritional health quiz. And you can check that every 6 months or so and make sure you're still staying within that range, but that's really important. So when we're looking at the nutritional checklist, it's based on the warning signs described below. The word determine: disease, eating poorly, tooth loss, mouth pain, economic hardship, reduced social contact, multiple medicines, involuntary weight loss and gain, needs assistance in self-care, and elder years above 80. Okay, those describe them. We're going to go into detail here in the PowerPoint on these. So the first one, the latest report illustrated that 6.8% of older adults are food insecure and 2.6% are classified as having very low food security. These numbers have risen by 29% and 84% respectively. The number of living older adults also significantly increased, indicating that though their lifespans are increasing, their food security is not. And so I think this is really important. A lot of people don't realize that this is impacting people's life and nutrition. So when you look at feeding programs, there's community-based food and nutrition programs enabling the aging population to remain independent while providing social support, food security, and adequate nutrition. These include programs such as the Older American Title I V11, the Nutrition Services Incentive Program, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, the Commodity Supplement Food Program, the Senior Farmers Market Nutrition Program. There's an Emergency Food Assistance Program, the Child and Adult Care Food Program. Eligibility for these services depends on a variety of factors that can include age and income level. Advantages of these types of community-based programs include a general improvement in your quality of life and decreases in falls and loneliness because you're interacting with people to get this food. If income, you always have those people in that gray area where you're making not enough, but you're making too much, right? And so there are great churches that do food pantries and food distribution. Reach out to your churches. If they don't do it, they may know one that does. But there's lots of programs out there. There's Food for Others here in Northern Virginia, and I know there's other food pantries as well all over. I think it's really important that you know those resources are out there because we want you to eat healthy. If your income is lower and the only thing you can afford is ramen, there's a lot of salt in that. There isn't a lot of nutritional basis to it, and we want to make sure you're getting the right foods. It's hard to ask for help, but it's the right thing to do to take care of you, okay? Factors that affect your intake. Many factors can affect food intake among older adults. It could be physical, it could be social, it could be emotional, mental status, and economic, and we're going to go through these. So stages, physical changes that can affect your food intake, your body composition, saliva, your teeth, digestion, stomach acid, fat intolerance, lactose intolerance, constipation, thirst, taste and smell, eyesight, strength, energy, and coordination. These changes usually occur at different rates from person to person. Some physical functions change little with aging, while others greatly change. And so each person is unique. So let's look at the body composition. Many adults lose muscle, bone, mineral, and body water with aging. At the same time, many older adults gain body fat. Muscle loss can cause people to lose their ability to move and maintain their balance, making falls likely. A loss of muscle is not inevitable. If you have good nutrition and regular physical activity, you can help maintain your muscle mass and your strength. Strength training can increase muscle and decrease your body fat. Weight bearing and resistance activities also increase muscle and bone density. So get out those cans of green beans and do some exercises. Since muscle contains more water than fat, building muscle also helps increase your body water, which is very, very important with older adults. I can't tell you how many times we are finding that people are having their blood pressure drop because they're not taking in enough water. Then they have kidney issues and have UTIs because they're not flushing things out of their system because they're not drinking enough water. And tea and coffee don't count because they actually take away water because they've got caffeine. And juices only add more sugar, which can increase your UTI. So water is really important. If you need to be creative in getting fluids in your body from eating watermelon or oranges or having a smoothie, let's get creative with that. If we need to put Crystal Light in the water so that you'll drink it. I know some people really can't handle the regular water, but you want to be creative with that stuff. Another option is popsicles and Jell-O. You can do sugar-free for those. So, as we go through this journey with dementia, sometimes getting them to drink water can be really hard. So we do have to get creative in that aspect. All right, let's look at saliva. Production of saliva may decrease with age. Saliva moistens your food and makes swallowing easier. Foods may be dry and more difficult to swallow. And so this is a really big thing. And this production of saliva decrease may not just be because of the physical aspect, it could be because of medications. So this is something really to keep an eye on. Next are our teeth. Loss of teeth makes eating and chewing some foods extremely difficult. Many older adults are unable to adjust to dentures or have dentures that don't fit. This is very common. Older adult gets dentures, they're working great. 5 years down the road, they have a huge weight loss. Well, their dentures don't fit anymore, but they don't get them resized, and then they're getting ulcers and it hurts to chew because the dentures are hitting those ulcers in their mouth. So we want to make sure those are always fitting appropriately and that no one has wounds in their mouth from them, from the friction. Also, very hot or very cold foods may be painful for people with dental problems. People with tooth loss, gum disease, or poor fitting dentures tend to eat softer foods or limit their food intake, which can lead to poor diet. And poor chewing can also increase your risk of choking. Digestion. Many older adults do not digest foods as well as when they were younger. Intestinal secretions change as you age. Serving 4 to 6 smaller meals may be more acceptable for someone. Instead of doing breakfast, lunch, dinner, do 2 morning snacks, 2 lunches, and at least dinner. And a lot of times you'll find with older adults that you kind of rotate your lunch and dinner. Or if you're from the South, dinner, supper. Do the biggest meal in the middle of the day and do a lighter meal in the evening. Many older adults do not tolerate high fat or dairy foods anymore. And so you have to work around that. Constipation is a big issue with older adults. It's a common problem. The intestinal wall tends to lose strength and elasticity with age, which results in slower intestinal motility. Many medications can also cause constipation. You'll see a lot of times doctors will give a prescription, and on top of that medication, they then also put you on a regimen to prevent constipation. That is very common. Sufficient fiber and fluids are important to combat constipation. They like popcorn and they can eat it. That's a great fiber to give them, Raisin Bran, but also making sure they're pushing fluids. Physical activity is also important to help with constipation. Get out and do some walking. Fiber supplements may be needed if you can't do it a natural way. Next is thirst. The combined effects of decreased thirst sensation, decreased body water, increased water loss, incontinence, and decreased mobility put older adults at the greatest risk for dehydration. Keep fluids close at hand to encourage increased fluid intake. Low sugar drinks, please. And if a person is very weak or frail, using a small glass or using a straw may make fluid intake easier. Okay. Tips for a healthy diet. Include a variety of food following the USDA daily food plan groups. Avoid empty calorie foods. Use fresh fruits for dessert instead of pastries. Encourage snacks if food intake is low. Encourage adequate water, fiber, and physical activity to prevent constipation. Include a variety of foods and spices unless specific foods or spices aren't tolerated. Current recommendations suggest limited benefits of special diets for people over 75. The therapeutic benefits need to be weighed against the effect on a dietary intake. So what they mean by that, you want to do all this healthy stuff, but if your person really wants a chocolate chip cookie 3 times a day, is their quality of life. So you need to weigh those out. Tips for if your appetite declines. Eat meals at a regular time. Keeping a schedule is so important. Have the main meal earlier in the day, like I said earlier. Plan 5 to 6 smaller meals. Have special event meals. So make it a theme. Today is National Large Omelet Day, and make omelets. It's a lot of fun. Today is National Chocolate Cake Day, or it's quiche day, whatever that might be, and celebrate it, make it fun. Ask people what are some foods that they enjoy. This is really important because you may think you know what your husband John likes, but come to find out with dementia, he's gone backwards in time and maybe he didn't like that food for where he is now, and you want to meet him where he's at. So, he might have liked fettuccine Alfredo, but now that he's gone backwards, maybe it's spaghetti and meatballs he wants. And so figuring those pieces out are really important. Keep the physical surroundings pleasant and calm. You don't want them overstimulating, too much going on, too many patterns on tablecloths. You want there to be contrast between the plate and the table or the tablecloth so that they can see where the food is, because vision changes as well. Allow enough time for meals. This is so important. Maybe Susie has always taken 20 minutes to eat her meal, but as she's gotten older, whether it's a physical reason, an emotional reason, a psychological reason, or a cognitive reason of why she's eating slower, we need to give her that time. So it may take her 40 to 60 minutes to eat. And we don't want to push, we don't want to encourage, we don't want to take food away. Let it be there, okay? Encourage daily physical activity to increase their appetite. And remember, medications can affect appetite. There's also medications that can help increase appetite. So have these conversations with your doctor when these things are happening. Tips is smell and taste decline. You can use herbs and spices. A good one people use is Mrs. Dash. There's not any sodium in it. So a lot of people use that to give taste because your taste buds change as you age. Use a variety of flavors. Use a variety of visual clues, colors, shapes, temperature, textures. Remember, flavors are not as easy to detect in very cold and very hot foods. So casseroles or dishes like stroganoff may be easier to chew and swallow. So using gravies and sauces to moisten the food. Serving a beverage with the meal so they can swallow easier. Eat slowly and chew thoroughly. Be sure dentures fit properly. Maintain as normal of a diet as possible. Ground meats are dry and difficult to swallow, so try soft, high-protein foods like fish. Pre-cut foods and using casseroles, soups, and gelatin. Foods prepared this way are easier to eat, but the individual still feels like they're eating regular food. Try mashing it if that is acceptable food forms, such as mashed potatoes or mashed baked squash. Try shredding raw vegetables or fruits and using the shredded vegetables and fruits in salads, gelatins, or stir fry. And watch for signs of choking, okay? Because that's going to tell you, do I have them sitting straight up or are they tilting back in their chair? Is the food moist enough or is it too dry? Is the food pieces too big? Do I need to make them smaller? There's lots of things to look for. One of the number one things for older adults is aspiration pneumonia because it goes down the wrong pipe and then you end up getting sick. So tips for emotional and social factors: decrease food intake. So serve food attractively. How many times I've seen that people are on puree diets and it all gets mushed into one bowl? That is not appealing to anybody. Puree food in general is not attractive. So if there's some way you can do puree food where it looks attractive, whether it's putting it in cookie cutter molds so that it still looks like something, it's not a bad idea. Or finding foods that are better at being puree that doesn't seem odd to them that it's pureed. Use a variety of flavors, colors, temperature, shapes, and textures. Don't serve same food every day. We want to serve food attractively, use a variety of flavors and colors, invite friends, eat out occasionally or order in, make it fun for them, okay? Encourage other activities to increase feeding or self-worth and self-esteem. Seek individuals' participation. So this can be snapping peas, shucking corn. Start a garden and use protein from there and let that be an activity. Watch for signs of depression as well. Tips for strength and energy and coordination decline. So special eating utensils, cups, and plate guards are available. Some foods take a lot of effort to eat and coordination is a problem, such as peas, rice, salads, and soups. So a lot of times you'll hear if someone has poor swallowing abilities, you're not to give them salads and rices. Some foods need something to help them stick together, so using a gravy. Finger foods are ideal because they require less effort to eat. And if you have someone who walks around a lot, this is a big thing, giving them a finger food. They can walk and eat a peanut butter sandwich or chicken nuggets while they're walking around if you can't get them to sit down. Some modifications can help, such as soup in a mug or spaghetti pre-mixed with sauce and melted cheese on top to hold the noodles together. Provide assistance with tasks requiring hand and finger dexterity, such as opening the packages of crackers or cartons of milk and cutting meat. When you start to see these changes, request or get an order from your primary care physician for a swallow evaluation and get an evaluation with the OT for adaptive devices. This can be really helpful for you to give somebody a better quality with their eating. Tips for mental status decline: make mealtime a routine that occurs at the same time and place to avoid confusion. Serve familiar foods in familiar ways. Have the main meal at noon when appetite is larger and mental abilities are at their peak. As the day goes on, you find that they get tired or it's harder to eat. So when you have a big meal, it's harder for them to consume that. may help to offer fewer choices and smaller portions with snacks as needed. So saying, hey, how about we have some spaghetti tonight? Instead of having them choose what they want, offer them one thing. Also, only putting spaghetti and bread on the plate, or just putting spaghetti and green beans, okay? Serving one food at a time may also be less confusing. Do you do a plate for each thing and they finish that one item, they go on to the next? Make physical surroundings pleasant and calm and avoid unnecessary distractions, busy tablecloths, the TV running, distracting music. Do something soft and inviting, like a coffee house music. Set aside enough time for meals. Remember, we want to give them as much time as they need. Obviously, not all day. Check food temperatures to prevent burns from happening. Food consistency may need to be modified to prevent choking. Individual may not know what should and should not be eaten. Be aware that messiness and spills may occur due to loss of coordination. If disruptive behavior occurs, try discontinuing mealtime for a few minutes or have someone else try feeding them. Individuals may spit out food not because they are being difficult with you, but because they're having a difficult time eating it. So if they're spitting it out, it could be that their taste buds have changed and they don't like it. I'm a perfect example. I do not like mushy foods or soggy foods. So if I have to go on a puree diet, it's going to be a really big problem for me. I've already told everyone, just sign me off a waiver for quality of life because I'm not going to eat the puree food. I'm going to spit it out. I can't stand the texture. Don't continue feeding if someone's choking. This is so important. And consult with the physician if the individual refuses to eat or is not eating enough. The other important thing is if someone's in those later stages and you're feeding them in bed, they have to be sitting at a 90-degree angle. Very, very important to make sure that's happening, okay? Also, if you're serving thickened liquids, so honey and nectar thick, you'll hear those terms. Those are to be served with spoons, not a straw, not to be poured down their throat, because they're basically consistency of foods. So make sure you're doing that or you're going to have aspiration pneumonia. Tips for you as the caregiver: preserve the dignity of the person being fed. Allow sufficient time for feeding. Position the person being fed. Offer small amounts of food at a time. Feeding food too rapidly can actually increase the risk of choking and food aspiration. Don't use straws that supply liquid more rapidly than someone can swallow. And like I talked about with thickened liquids, food should be nutrient dense because individuals may tire quickly and consume only limited amounts of food. So for instance, you need to get calories in, add cream cheese or sour cream to the mashed potatoes, okay? There's different things you can add to do that. Cheeses, right, into casseroles. So nutritional support at mealtimes. For a mealtime, for M, you want to maintain a routine. E, eat well-balanced meals. A, alertness to any nutritional problems. L, light and frequent meals. T, teach the caregiver how to deal with the older adult and the behaviors that are coming. I, interactions between drugs and nutrients. There are some medications that you are not to eat certain foods after taking the medicine or before, or you have to wait a certain amount of time after taking medication to eat in general. So it's really important to know those things. And if you're not sure by what's written on the prescription, talk to your pharmacist, okay? Minimize confusion for the older adult. So if they don't understand what a spoon's for and you want to put the soup in the coffee mug because they know to drink out of there, go for it. Encourage older adults to eat. We're social eaters. You know, there's been lots of studies where they are going to be more likely to eat if they hold a baby doll in their arm or that they have a dog or a cat around. And supplement their diet as needed, whether that's with a smoothie, Ensure, whatever that might be. All right, well, I'm going to quiz you guys. Here we go. Protein is important for older adults age 60 and older because why? Is it to help maintain muscle mass and keep your body strong? Is it to support the immune system, or is it to help blood carry oxygen around the body? You guys were listening. The answer is all of the above. All the foods below are good sources of protein, except which one? Is it chicken, beef, and fish, beans, peas, and lentils, milk, yogurt, and cheese, or butter, cream, cheese, and sour cream? you were listening, you will see that 4 is not a good source of protein. Next, true or false, eating a wide variety of foods that are good sources of protein can help provide more of the nutrients that your body needs. The answer is true. True or false, in addition to protein, milk provides important nutrients such as calcium and vitamin D. That is also true. Vitamin B12 is important because why? Does it help your body make red blood cells, help your body stay hydrated, helps your body prevent sunburns, or all of the above? It helps your body make red blood cells. Vitamin B12 can be a nutrient of concern for some older adults age 60 and older because why? That the ability to absorb it can decrease with age. Older adults don't eat enough vegetables, B12 tastes terrible, or none of the above. Your answer is the ability to absorb it. All foods below are good sources of vitamin B12, except what? Your answer is except apples. So eat eggs, fortified breakfast cereal, and canned tuna. True or false? Many older adults ages 60 and older do not drink enough fluids throughout the day. Yes, yes, and yes. We need to drink more. True or false? Fruits and vegetables can help older adults age 60 and older stay hydrated. Yes, this is true. Factors to consider when planning and preparing meals for older adults 60 and older may include preparing foods that they are easy to chew and swallow. 2, avoid certain foods due to allergies, disabilities, and medications. And 3, follow proper food safety procedures. Or 4, all of the above. It would be 4, all of the above. All right, that is the end.